It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's time for the Texans happy hour. We got a special guest in the building. I've already seen him. He's going to be pandering, but we'll get to that in just a second. That would be so. Why, yes. Yes, I do, Mr. Stroud. I do have something to say. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Texans Happy Hour. I'm your host, Big Sarge. You may have seen me a time or two on the Texas Tailgate Talk YouTube channel and on the podcast, available wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And make sure, once again, you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk channel, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk on YouTube. Go there right now. I got an exclusive interview that I did last week with Houston Texans offensive lineman Juice Scruggs. I think you'll be very interested to hear what he had to say. I had to get this mic together. And with OTAs on tomorrow, there we go, Sarge. You can't say on tomorrow. With OTAs on Tuesday. Hey, anybody who's seen who remember seeing Norbit? Tuesday. We're getting a chance to see the Houston Texans back in action their second week of OTAs. The last time the media will be able to see them before we get an opportunity to see them in the mandatory mini camp. And then after that, y'all, going to go through a football drought. Now here is where, hold on, because before I got a guest, but before I bring my guest on, because I don't want my guest to be involved in none of what I'm about to say. Hold on, let me take me a drink. So what I'm about to say is petty. And my guests don't need to be involved in none of this petty stuff I'm about to start right now. Because so on today, on Monday, right, I realized I'm just different. I was having a conversation with a really, really, really good friend of mine. We've been friends since 1998. And as I was talking to him, I just realized, like, I'm different because we're talking and he doesn't see my point at first, but then he's listening. He's like, no, that's a good point. No, that's a good point you got right there. And I was like, yeah, I'm just different, y'all. And so with that being said, heading into training camp, I'm gonna go ahead and just ride that thing on out as being different. And I'm gonna lose a lot of people, a lot of friends, but the real ones are gonna stay and the real ones are gonna come. So with that being said, after mandatory minicamp, it's gonna be hard for a lot of people out there to create some content. We're gonna get, you're gonna get your look at that. See how the Lord see how the Lord telling me stop being that way. Look, after I gotta fix this mic, y'all. Hold on. After minicamp, going into training camp, you're gonna see a lot of who's your favorite Texan of all time? Who is the best coach of all time? Andre Johnson is in the Hall of Fame. Who do you think should be next? If Deshaun Watson never messes up and stays with the Houston Texans, where do you think that his career would be right now? Give us a prediction on the Texans defense. There's gonna be a lot of that type of stuff going on, but not on Texans Tailgate Talk and not on the Texans Happy Hour. Hell no, I got content for days. I got content for days, and we're gonna talk and talk and talk. And so y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast if you want some, really good content. Because I can also dig in my duffel bag and pull out some stuff. I got some stuff in that duffel bag that once I pull it out, we can start talking about that right there. Like that duffel bag is a whole conversation within itself. And so I wanted to make sure that I said that before I brought my guest on, because I don't want my guest being no part of this, even though I know he can hold his own because he went to Texas A&M. So,
What did I go?
He went to Texas A&M. So,
it's right on the shirt.
Well, what that mean?
I am. Oh, I am.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the Texas Happy Hour. The host of the H-Town Rundown. Hey, man, real quickly, by the way, y'all are doing an amazing job over there. Even though I've never been on the Rockets one, I'm cool with that, though. But, I mean, I'm just like, I see it all the time. I watch. I see it. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I still ain't got no invite, but I'm cool with that, though. Y'all do an amazing job as far on the football side as well. Hey, look, for everybody that's joining right now, hey, I just want to say hello to everybody. Y'all see who I got on here. AD, you are by far you family over here on the Texas Tailgate. You know what I mean? You good with me?
I hope I am.
You're gonna always be good with me, even I even had a talk with our friend Ladarius Henderson about that, but that's another story for another time. AD,
look, the H-Town Rundown had a talk with Woody Marks.
Oh, yeah, I seen that. I seen y'all had an opportunity to speak with him at the Astros game. Yeah. Woody's a very good guy, man. Woody's a nice guy, and I said right here, last week, hey, Danny Barrett really likes him, man. Danny Barrett thinks highly of Woody Marks, and it's gonna be I know we're gonna talk about CJ Stroud in just a second, but let's just go ahead and jump into that real quickly. Hey, man, that's going to be a dog fight for the number 2 running back position, the backup position behind Joe Mixon this year. Because listen, I know Dare has the experience, Dameon Pierce has the experience, and from what I'm hearing, Nick Caley's offense may help put Dameon Pierce back in the running back spot like he was the 2 years before Bobby got here. I think that was his rookie year. We don't really know what the Nick Caley system is just yet, but we are going to talk about that in on the happy hour today. But man, you got Jawar Jordan, you got British Brooks, you got Uga Mawale, you got Dameon Pierce, and you got the rookie.
Say that name again.
Uga Buwale. Dare Uga Buwale.
Is it Agumbawale?
Agumbawale, that's what I said. Agumbawale.
I don't know what that was, but that wasn't Agumbawale.
Hey, don't come up in here with your fancy Texas A&M degree. Hey, you see that?
Look, I got two degrees.
That's why I leave you. Listen, you see Centers, you cannot come in. Stay outside.
But we's all one's people.
He said, your big ass been watching that door the whole time. Hey, if you want to come up in here, you can just come up in here. Why you won't come up in here?
We're supposed to be one's people.
But so who would you have, heading into training camp, who would you have behind Joe Mixon?
Anybody but Dameon Pierce. No, it's fine. I mean, honestly, I'm enticed and excited about the Woody Marks, Jaquavius Marks. I'm excited to see what he can do, and I think he's gonna take the reins and run with it. No pun intended, but I honestly think that he has an advantage because he can do multiple things. Not only can he run between the tackles, he can run. He has a little breakaway speed as well. And he can catch the ball out of the backfield, and he can really be effective as a receiver out of the backfield. I honestly think Dare Ogunbowale is a guaranteed roster spot just based on his third down ability, as he's shown the last few years, as well as he's Frank Ross's best friend.
I caught that little shot, but go ahead. I'm listening.
and he's Frank Ross's best friend. I mean, he's I think Frank has his picks, and you can tell the guys who's been on this roster for multiple years. Okay, Cal, here we go. Killer Cal in the bin. Already trying to stir the pot.
Hey, look, hold on for a side note. Killer Cal, y'all hit me up, man. You and Patton, y'all hit me up. I want to have y'all on here. Have y'all on here as well. Well, my bad, bro.
Just don't bring up Jalen Green or basketball when you talking to Cal.
Why?
Because he don't know ball.
Who don't know? Cal no ball, man. Cal no ball. Listen, I jumped into y'all's spaces the other day, and I was like, man, this is wild. Killer Cal no ball. But so you saying that you think that it is going to be Woody Marks?
I think when it's all said and done, I think that it's going to be Woody Marks. But I'm also looking at there may be
Jawar is going to give some people some trouble.
I agree. C-Roll will come down from heaven to make sure that that's a possibility. But again, you got to show it and prove it. He really didn't get an opportunity last year, but I think this year he'll have an opportunity, especially in preseason and training camp, to show his abilities. I think he's a sleeper as well. But I think the real sleeper is not even on the Texans roster right now. I think
Nick Chubb?
Nah.
Who you think?
I'm thinking J.K. Dobbins.
You think so?
I think J.K. can be a real guy that they bring in.
Man, let me tell you something. I don't know. I think that for what they're trying to do, for what they're trying to do and what I feel like they want to do, because I say this all the time. I haven't seen Nick Caley. Call one play. I haven't seen him call one play yet. And I don't know what that offense is going to look like, but excuse me, I think that they have exactly what they need right now. So I think that the backup running back position is wide open. I think it's wide open. Now you got Joe Mixon, and then you got everybody else who is either unknown or exactly who and what they're going to be. Because I'm going to be honest with you, man. I am a huge Dameon Pierce fan. You probably won't find one that roots for Dameon like I do, and I've been rooting for him since day one. Right?
More power to you, brother.
Yeah. So hold on. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. There may be a likelihood where Dameon may not even make this team. And the reason why I say that is because one of the reasons they kept him around, the last 2 seasons was because of what? Special teams. But now they got some special teams players. They got some kick returners now.
A lot of them.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, I think that Dameon Pierce is really good when it comes to the special teams. And like I said, maybe this is an opportunity for him to prove himself. What is he going into his 4th year?
Last year of his contract.
Yeah, going into his 4th year. So he has a lot to prove coming into training camp, but AD, he may not even make this team.
I don't think he should make this team.
Why not?
What does Dameon Pierce provide you that you can't get off the street?
Off the street?
Off the street. I'm looking at off the street right now. What can he give you that Jamal Williams can't give you? What can he give you that Gus Edwards can't give you? What can he give you that Jeff Wilson can't give you?
Are these all free agent running backs?
All free agent running backs.
That's available. But here's my thing, though. If I'm not going to let Dameon, if I'm not going to keep Dameon Pierce, I'm not bringing the running backs off the street either.
Why not?
Because I feel like you got what you need on the team already. Like, if you're not gonna have Dameon Pierce on the team, then at least to start off the season, you could have Ugubuwale on the Dare Ogunbowale.
Just stick with Dare.
Because I know I pronounce his name because I watch his sister play for the Dallas Wings all the time. I'm just having the technical difficulties right now. Excuse me for a second. But if you're gonna have Dare come in on third downs, at least until you can get Gus Edwards up to speed to see what he's going to do, or until you can get Jawar Jordan up to speed. I don't think that they need to go out and spend any money on a backup because all you're doing is pushing the development of the running backs you have on your team already. So you're going to bring in Gus Edwards. What he's going to be a one year rental?
Yeah, anybody you bring in is going to be a 1-year guy. But I also think that Woody Marks has the potential to be, either a guy of the future. As far as like taking a role, I don't know how long. I don't know how long Joe Mixon has in the Texans uniform, because I don't know if the Texans will go ahead and re-sign a 30-plus-year-old running back to an extension.
But those running backs you named, though, the AD, I mean, I don't see them as long term either.
Well, I mean, I'm saying these are 1-year backup stopgaps, and I think that they're going to draft another running back next year.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be the case. But I think Woody Marks has the potential to be a guy who can be first 3 downs back.
So you're looking at bringing after Joe's gone, you could potentially see Woody Marks starting at the running back position, and then them drafting his backup, or how does that work?
I don't think so. The league is turning into a running back by committee league.
Yep.
They're going away from the solo Derrick Henry guys. There aren't many Derrick Henrys in this league coming out anymore. Even in college football, Dameon Pierce, for example, he was in a running back by committee in college.
Yeah,
which is what most colleges do. Ashton Genty is probably an exception, one of one, coming out of this draft, being a lead back, all 3 downs, can carry the load, 20 carries a game. You're not going to see that anymore coming out of the draft. Most of these guys split carries.
You know what, AD? I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to say this. So, you brought up Jalen Green, right? You brought up Jalen Green earlier. Mm-hmm. And I look at, since we're talking about Dameon Pierce, I can look at Dameon Pierce and I can look at Jalen Green the exact same way. And the reason why I say that is because, so when he was in college, right, when he was at Florida, Dameon Pierce scored a touchdown every 7 carries his last year at Florida. Mm-hmm. So every 7th carry, he was scoring a touchdown for him. And he split, like you said, he split a lot. But he came into a terrible situation. Just like Jalen came into a terrible situation with the Rockets and was underdeveloped his first 2 years. And so when Dameon Pierce comes into the league, right, and they're running a certain type of style, but they're still tanking. They're still not playing to really win. They're just playing football. And then he gets inside of a system that you don't even have the offensive coordinator there anymore. So you think about it, a player like Dameon Pierce is going through his 3rd offensive system in 4 years. And I mean, you could say the same for a player like Nico Collins. You could say the same for a player like Davis Mills. And I mean, I'm just talking about these players who have been in this system for this amount of time. And so I guess that if they don't keep Dameon Pierce, because like I said, I mean, he could be one of the players that could be on the bubble based off of everything that he can do, other people can do. But you also got to give him the benefit of the doubt, which is why I asked, I remember asking D'Amico when we were at the NFL Combine about players getting acclimated to being in a new system. Because I mentioned that because CJ is going into his 2nd offensive system in his 3rd year in the league. Now, that could have potentially happened with Bobby getting a head coaching job, right? But Bobby didn't. Bobby got fired for inefficiency. And so you look at a player like Dameon Pierce. His offense coordinator gets fired for inefficiency, right? The first one. The second one gets fired for inefficiency. So now he's in his 3rd system. So he hasn't really. Have we really seen what Dameon Pierce can actually do?
Yes.
Well, we've seen him in Tennessee.
Okay. So name me how many more of those games?
Yeah, but how many more opportunities did he really have?
So
And
so let me put it like this. He had an abundance of opportunities this past year, but he couldn't get on the field when Joe Mixon got hurt.
so now,
And that right there was a to me a true indicator of the Dameon Pierce experience. Is that he'll flat, and the thing about it, just like Jalen Green, inconsistent. Dameon Pierce, inconsistent. Second thing is Dameon Pierce can't see. He's as I would say he has as much vision as Stevie Wonder, and we all know Stevie Wonder can see a little bit.
yeah.
Um,
No.
so,
I listen. I agree
uh,
with you. One of the things that God dang it, what was the guy's name? He came from Minnesota. He was here. What was the running back's name? Mike something.
Cam Akers,
No, not Cam Akers. He was here before Cam Akers. It
Mike
was
Boone.
Mike Boone.
Mm-hmm.
When Mike Boone was here, I was talking to him about Damien. He said Damien is a really good runner. He said the problem is in this scheme, and you see it a lot with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon has the vision to be able to see on the backside. Damien is one of those run. Damien was in the wrong offensive system because the offensive system that Bobby had, there was going to be the way he was trying to call his plays. There was going to be a lot. There's like Joe Mixon said, "Hey man, if I'm running, I can see daylight out of this side in my peripheral." Damon is like, "Hey, look, they said running this hole. I'm going to run and I'm going to punish somebody in this hole, right?" And look, if we keeping it a buck, AD, if we keeping it a buck, now I sound like I'm caping for Dameon Pierce, but I told
You
you I'm
are.
a fan of Dameon
You
Pierce. But
are.
hold on. Last season, right? Last season, we're just going to use last season for example. Joe Mixon had to make a lot of that happen because the line was so bad, right? So this is just Joe Mixon being Joe Mixon. No running back should really have to do what Joe Mixon did last year. And you're asking for a lot, but we know Joe Mixon is a Pro Bowl running back who's been to the Super Bowl. Dameon Pierce is not. And Joe Mixon came into a system where he had a stable system, there was stability when he was in Cincinnati, and then he gets here and he has and
He had
there's
to do the
stability.
same thing in Cincinnati, though. So it's not Cincinnati didn't have a great line. They had a horrible line in Cincinnati. He had to do the same thing. So it was about the same thing.
But Joe
But
Mixon but we're not saying that. I'm not saying Dameon Pierce is a better running back. We know coming out of
no,
college,
absolutely no.
Dameon Pierce wasn't a better running back than Joe Mixon. Joe
No.
Mixon is the better running back. What I'm saying is that with the opportunities, with the play calling, with the bad offensive line play, like you put a running back like Dameon Pierce in there, he's not going to have that type of success because Joe Mixon is running and he can find the holes. Dameon Pierce, nobody has taught him how to find those holes just yet.
I got a player reference that's a former that was a Texan, um, who made things happen behind bad offensive lines that the Texans had, and he's a very, very familiar name. He was a one of a fan favorite of Bill O'Brien's. And if y'all know who I'm talking about, the guy from LSU, we talking about Alfred Blue, who game similar to Dameon Pierce, if you want to, talk about it. But again, Alfred Blue made the most of his opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Dameon Pierce doesn't make the most of his opportunities. Again, like you said, coach say go left, I'm going to go left. You have no fluidity in your game. You have nothing. To me, that makes you non-special. And again, you have to have a running back, regardless if they're second, third, whatever. If Dare has vision and Dare can make plays, then Dameon Pierce, as running back number 2, should be able to do that. And he can't. And I understand if it is not the right system, I'm not going to create a system for Dameon Pierce.
Oh no. I'm not saying so. Look, and I definitely understand that. But what I'm saying is that sometimes you can only you can only do with what you can only do as much as you can with what you got, right? And
But
so
it's the same thing with food. You can only make certain things with a loaf of bread and a dry peanut butter.
yeah,
But
you're
guess
right.
what?
You're right. But here's my thing though. In the system that he was in when he came in his rookie year, was that system not made for him? He missed what the last 4 games because of ankle injury. He said he could have played, but how many yards he rushed for? 900.
It was 900.
So
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean,
you
he
change
would
up
have
the
been
system,
1,000 yard. He would have been 1,000 yard running back. But
and then you
again,
change up the system the next year.
yeah, I mean, Steve Slayton ran for 1,000 yard his rookie year, and he wasn't the same running back ever again. But again, Damian Pierce, I credit Kenyon Green for that. Some of that 900 yards. Especially that Chargers game, that came off a Kenyon Green block. Most of that came off a Kenyon Green block. So
Oh yeah, we know Kenyon was a hell of a run
run block.
blocker. He just couldn't.
Um,
Nobody ever taught him how to pass block in the
right.
NFL, and so.
I mean,
But
he did have the great Larry Tunsil to help him, but see how that goes with anybody with Larry Tunsil. But I'm gonna be petty too. I need a cup. Where's my cup?
go get your cup of now you probably need a Capri Sun, but but look, so I didn't know how we got into a 30-minute Damian Pierce conversation, but we were there.
We started
Like I said,
talking about Woody Marks and see how great Woody Marks is,
but you know what, AD, you were on the Texas Happy Hour last week when somebody brought up a great point. They said Woody Marks can do all these things, but can he pass block? That's what we have to see. We have to see if he's able to pass block, because we know one thing that Dare can do is pass block.
Yeah,
and if he's in there, he's definitely going to be one of those guys that can pass block. But with that being said, since we're talking about passing, right? And once again, you're on the Texans Happy Hour. I'm Big Sarge. That's AD, host of the H-Town Rundown. What nights are y'all on, AD?
right now it's fluid because it's summertime, so it'll be different nights. But it's Wednesday this week.
So it ain't Damian Pierce.
Oh yeah, it ain't Damian Pierce. Look. But yeah, now we Wednesday. This coming week will be Wednesday. The following week, as well. So it'll move around from time to time. Last week it was Thursday, because of OTAs and everything like that. So
yeah, and so man, listen, we just got to go ahead and jump into this thing, bro. AD, you gonna have to tell me, bro, because I'm still trying to figure this shit out. And I cussed. Yes, I did. Hand over heart. My bad. I didn't get a chance to see you at my LB's party, man. We had another prior engagement that my wife was not going to miss, but because I would have chopped it up with you then. AD, you got to tell me why the hell these people think the sky is falling when it comes to CJ Stroud and this, and him not throwing in OTAs. Bro, I've never seen so many crybabies in my life. Oh, he's got to throw. He's got to throw. No, he doesn't. Oh, he's injured. No, he's not. I told y'all this on multiple occasions. He is not injured. Oh, he's trying to hold out for a new contract. Are you stupid or are you dumb? Right? Are you stupid or are you dumb? AD, why was this such a big thing?
You know that meme of Dave Chappelle as a crackhead, and he just that right now is Texans fans. It's been three and a half months since the Texans last played a football game. And right now everybody's searching and begging for stories and content and things to talk about, because they don't have anything else to talk about, and they kind of, fiending for some news or for something, to they needed to. But yeah, they definitely searching for it. But again, I don't take anything serious in May or early June. That's why I had to get on my soapbox about the offensive line.
Yeah.
Stop talking about who's starting and locking in starting positions in May when you don't know who's gonna start come, August, September. I do blame them too, Mellow Mike. Because everybody's like, nervous and scared and want something to happen again. If there was an injury in May or June, if it ain't an ACL or Achilles injury or something like that, even if it was a AC joint sprain or whatever with CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud gonna be out there September. What is it? September 1st, September 15th. What is it?
I,
September 1st.
I,
I think that's the first game of the season.
against the
September
Rams,
1st.
I don't know what day.
Yeah,
I just know it's at 3:25.
yeah, whatever it is, hey, he gonna be there. He gonna be in LA, and he gonna be there with his pass on, ready to go.
Yeah,
I am not concerned about CJ Stroud. It's too early to talk about holding out. It ain't even time to even talk about a contract yet. So why would he be holding out?
can, can, can I say something real quick?
Oh yeah.
And this one, hold on 1 second. Give me a second.
Pause.
I said in 2025, starting in
I
2025.
can say it because you said some Paul stuff before.
I ain't doing, hey, but I'm not. That's why I didn't say that. That's why I just looked at it. I'm not doing pause. I'm not doing no Diddy. I'm not doing diddler. I'm not doing I'm not doing none of that because I said I'm a grown man. I want to talk. Like I'm tired of having to watch my word. And that stuff came from the East Coast, man. I live down south. And what we used to say, we can't say it no more. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
But with that being said, though,
all I can say is Kendrick brought the West to the South. They not like us.
Hey, for sure. But AD, I'm glad you said that when you talked about real quickly about that holding out, because I took that drink because I got to flex for a second. Ain't gonna be no hard negotiation when it's time to sign CJ Stroud. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. Hey, look, of course, there's going to be haggling back and forth because the art of business is the art of negotiation. Mm-hmm. But CJ and David are going to walk in with a number. And the McNairs and Nick Caserio is going to have a number, right? And whoever else, they're going to have their number. They're going to have their number. They're going to walk in. They're going to talk about the numbers, this, that, and other. But at the end of the day, CJ is going to be signed. And CJ is going to be signed for a lot of money. CJ is going to be signed for a lot of money. CJ is going to be signed for a lot of years. I'm not saying like years and years, but they're going to get the bang for their buck, and they're going to continue to build around CJ Stroud. They're going to do with CJ what they were trying to do with Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. And so they got a different type of quarterback who shouldn't, get in any trouble. Side note, hey man, hold on 1 second. Hold on, because I want to get back to CJ Stroud. I want to get back to this, but I got something I got to say. Hey man, COVID really messed up Deshaun Watson, didn't it? He didn't even catch COVID and lost his damn job.
Hey.
He didn't even and how are you? The world is shut down, my guy. How are you so bored? How are you allegedly getting in the car?
It ain't about being bored. It's about being horny
and bored. I digress because I don't want to talk. I don't want to taint CJ Stroud talk with Deshaun Watson talk. I just can't understand
Amber Rose almost tainted it for a second.
No.
Rose, I say almost. I said
almost. Was there, bro. No, it was not, bro. He was really doing a nice gesture, bro.
I mean, you see what happens when and he was with Stephon Diggs last year, and you see what Stephon Diggs done got into. So I'm just glad he's beating the allegations right now, and I'm glad Mama Stroud is like Mama Daniels, but behind the scenes and not in front of the camera.
Hey, listen. We may have to come back and have the Stephon Diggs talk. We probably have to do like Texans After Dark or something. the Texans After Dark have to have that conversation. But getting back to CJ, there's not going to be. I couldn't believe when I heard people talking about he was holding out, and I couldn't believe. I came the very first day when CJ didn't throw. I was like, started okay, cool. Hey, is he hurt? He not hurt. Could he throw if he needed to throw? He could throw if he needed to throw. So he just not throwing. He just not throwing. He's just not throwing. He's just not throwing. Davis Mills and what's the
Keldon
other guy?
Keldon
Slovis.
Slovis.
Yeah, they're getting they're getting their getting the reps in.
Mm-hmm.
CJ, if his arm was really that bad, if his shoulder was really that bad, he wouldn't have participated in the 7-on-7 running back drills, just handing the ball off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't understand, but that's what I want to ask you, AD. I was like, why are these people keep thinking that the sky is falling and that he is I don't know, man. Because I'm trying. So what I'm trying to do, I don't want to.
Like I said before, I asked the question: if he is hurt, what is the problem?
Here's the thing, right?
If he was, well, let me say not if he is. If he was hurt, what would be the problem or the concern? Joe Mixon is hurt right now.
Yeah,
he's not practicing. He's there, but he's not practicing. Damian Pierce is allegedly hurt. He's there, but he's not there.
Reverend Jordan is there, but not there. Christian Harris is there, and not there. Dalton Schultz is there, but not there. Sheldon Rankins, Jimmy Ward. Like, there's people that are there in the building. They're just not at OTAs, but they're in the building. And you see, as soon as practice is over, you see a lot of them coming out of because a lot of them are getting treatment. So they're coming out the treatment and then they're coming on the field. I showed the video last week of Christian Harris and Henry Toa playing catch. So I just don't like it. And I took that sip because I'm just gonna say it. There's a lot of people who, what do I always say? Hey, when you can't create content, you create confusion. There's a lot of people freaking creating confusion for no reason at all. Mm-hmm. And it does not matter to me. And just like you said, it don't matter to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I hope he don't throw at all until training camp. I hope the first time we see CJ Stroud throw, and I've said this before, is at training camp. I don't want him to throw on Tuesday. I don't want him to throw on mandatory minicamp, only because I like to see some of these people cry. I like to see some of these people have meltdowns. I like to see some of these people act like big babies. Oh man, CJ has to throw. For what?
Act like what's too short favorite word?
Exactly. Exactly. It is crazy, bro. I don't like it at all. I'm like, this guy, and that if CJ was hurt, if CJ was, I put it like this. There's a difference between being injured and being hurt. Do I think that he's like hurt? Of course, his arm may still be a little bit sore. Hell, he got sacked, 63 times last year? And how many hits did he take? Like, you expect his body just to recover from that quickly? Oh, man, his OTAs is time to throw. Oh, look, we're seeing everybody else throw at OTA. So what? Who cares? They're not playing against anybody but their own defense. That's it. They're out there doing 7-on-7. Oh, well, he has to try to build some type of continuity with the new wide receivers. Well, what do you think he's out there doing? Every opportunity that Jalen Noel gets, every opportunity that Jaden Higgins get, they are standing either next to Nico talking. They're standing even next to Xavier Hutchinson talking, and they're talking to CJ. And so he's still a vital part of what they're trying to do. It's just that he just ain't out there doing 7-on-7s.
So this is the thing also. CJ Stroud is a leader amongst men. And CJ Stroud, if I'm not mistaken, every offseason has gathered his receivers at some point. And they tender. But he has gathered his wide receivers and pass catchers every year. Even his rookie year, he took them out. Was it California? He took them all out there. And then last year, he was out there with Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Schultz, and all those guys, getting acquainted with each other with Sketch, the YouTuber. Yeah. So again, why would this be different this year? Why wouldn't he take Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel and Nico Collins and Christian Kirk and his best friend John Mechie, and Xavier Hutchinson and Justin Watson and Braxton Berrios, and
Tank gonna be out there too.
I need Tank.
What I mean by Tank is gonna be Tank
he
ain't gonna be able to do nothing, but he's gonna be there.
I'm not. Let me say this as a preference. I'm not including Tank in any conversations because I just want Tank to focus on getting well, getting better. I don't need him involved in anything. I don't need no freak accident. Somebody going catch the ball, he's sitting on the sideline and they fall and roll over in his leg and something happens. I didn't even like it when he was out there at the U of H basketball games. When somebody diving for a ball front court, I don't need none of that. I just need you to sit back in the cut and just get healed and come back in 2026, tear it up in 2026.
Yep.
Braxton Berrios, then we go tight end route. We go for I didn't count Nick Killer. I didn't count him because I don't want him nowhere near any other receivers either. Y'all already know who Nick Killer is.
I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm not gonna let you do that.
Man,
that was not Jared Wayne's fault.
Sarge, with all due respect, yes, the hell it was, because he wasn't supposed to be there. Tell me he was not supposed to be there. Tell me he was supposed to be there. Let me say that. Because he wasn't. He ran the wrong route. It was he broke.
You think he ran the wrong route?
I think he broke when he wasn't supposed to break. He broke off the route too soon to try to on a scramble drill that wasn't a scramble. CJ Stroud rolled out, and Tank was running across vertically. We watched it on the all 22. Tank going one way, Jared Wayne going the other. Jared Wayne cuts his route off to go back towards the ball to try to be a hero.
Be a hero?
Be a hero. I want to make a play. Everybody, look, he ran at the end of the day, and I'm not trying to question his character because everybody knows he didn't do it on purpose. It's all jokes and everything. But for me, he's going to be named Knee Killer. Knee Killer. And it's okay because you killed the knee of Tank Dell. Wow. But again, Sarge, at the end of the day, he ran the wrong route. But Knee Killer. You know how they got YNs? He a KN. I'm okay. Look, you asked for this. So you got it on the Texas Tailgate Talk. You can edit this out.
I ain't gonna edit nothing. Hey, hold on, we don't edit nothing.
But definitely, again, going back, CJ Stroud is a leader amongst men, and he's gonna galvanize the weapons. He's gonna bring in Dalton Schultz, K Stover, freaking Luke Lachey, Brevin Jordan, all those guys. Texas, we let Jimmy play. But he's going to galvanize those guys in the offseason. So I'm not concerned about them building chemistry or catching passes in t-shirt and shorts or whatever. It's going to, the chemistry is going to really show when we have the what do they call it? Not what is it? Group practices. I forgot what they call it. When we're going against the Panthers and the Vikings.
Yeah. Joint practices.
So those practices to me is where the chemistry is really going to get heated. And to be honest with you, talking about CJ throwing, I wouldn't want CJ to throw until those joint practices. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be upset if he just sit back in the cut and don't throw until those practices. He can throw in a bubble behind off camera, but I don't need him to throw on camera. I don't need to see it. And that's just me personally. I don't need to see CJ throw the ball. So if he's throwing the ball, in the bubble, behind the scenes, non-media day practices and all this stuff, fine.
You know what, AD? Because I've been listening to you, right? I've been listening to you, but you know what else I've been doing, right?
Taking notes.
Hell no. You can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rolling out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Now, what is he doing? What happened? What'd he do?
he's coming back to the ball. Look,
Right.
if Tank doesn't catch that, Jared Wayne catches that. If Tank don't catch that ball, Jared Wayne catches that ball.
Why is he making that adjustment? That ain't where he's supposed to be going.
He
The
went
ball
out.
ain't the ball ain't supposed to be coming to you, sir. First of all,
Look,
you go in, you break in your route. Go back to the other view. You break in your route. You see the safety bite. So you already know. And if you know the route concepts, you know Tank is gonna be wide open because Tank, the corner is on the outside. There's no inside person for Tank. You see it right now.
yep, right. So look, so CJ, you see how they both breaking out at the same time. Do you see right here? CJ is stopping, right? So if he's here and CJ is stopping, this don't make a better pass from here to here. And like I said, so it's here, right?
But
CJ's
we
throwing
know,
back.
but we know that CJ can make that throw. So
Yeah,
if the ball was going to him, CJ would have thrown it towards the pylon for him to make a play if the ball was coming to him.
look.
And CJ can make that throw easily.
So go hold on. Let's go back and look though. And I don't even look. This hey, let me tell y'all, for those of y'all who are watching right now, AD, I don't know what you got to do, but I'm gonna be here for a while. So if you got to go, I understand. But I ain't. We ain't had a Texas happy hour in a long time. So this is how this thing gonna be. Here's my thing, right? Hold on. See, right here, he's running this route. If CJ stands right here, he can see CJ standing right here. So he probably doesn't. But when CJ has to come and stop and then work his way back, look, Jared Wayne doesn't even know that Tank is behind him right now. So when he sees CJ stop here, he knows. Well, I don't know if he knows or not.
Sarge, the play was already designed for it to be a throwback. This was
Th-
this play is similar to
But
the
it ain't
one
designed to be a throwback just to Tank.
it at the end of the day, and like I said, it's not. But once again, when you're reading and you see, as Jay Rain, as you have it paused right there, he sees that the safety bit. So when the safety bit,
He
he
does it.
knows that there's nobody inside to cover Tank. So when Tank breaks his route, he's going to be open. When he breaks his route, because they're both breaking to the left. When he breaks his right, breaks to his left, you have a corner on the outside
Hold on.
who's going to be step for step with him.
Hold on. Hold on. Watch. This is what I see. They got a single high safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much man to man. Come out, right? There's only two men in the route, right? So now, at this point, even if he's looking over here, he still sees the safety is going to take Tank. Like if we looking at it, bro, this guy is using his, and if this is Jared Wayne, even if he's looking right here, if he's paying attention, right? Because you said he should see the safety. Well, he sees the safety, jumping Tank. And then if he's going to jump Tank like that, now at this point, even at this point, if you're looking, it still looks like he's going to hold Tank. Jared, and look, hold on, I haven't talked to him about it. No, I don't think anybody has talked to him about this play per se. I don't know. There could have been somebody else. I've never talked to him. I haven't even talked to him off the record about this play. This is just something, you know what I mean, AD? It's a sensitive subject.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but even if so, right? Even if so, right here, right? He still, if he's looking over here, Tank is covered.
So this is the thing. If Tank, so one or two things. The safety is biting on CJ scrambling because if he's covering Tank breaks that route, it's a pass interference, automatic first down.
but you're asking for a lot in the midst of a play, though. You like we're playing Monday morning quarterback right now. When you're going through that, yeah, all this stuff we talking about right now, or all this stuff that you and I are talking
Let me,
about.
but I'm gonna say this: for Jared Wayne to be a young receiver and not a primary in this offense, with him at this point, he's replacing Nico Collins, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't even think Nico's on the field at this point.
Yeah, this week 16.
Yeah, Nico's not even on the field. So at this point in time, as a young player, I just need to run my routes and get open with my routes that I'm supposed to run. Not trying to break off anything, not trying to do nothing spectacular. If you run the routes, you run the routes. This play was designed to work. One of Bobby's,
I disagree.
magical drew up plays that actually would have worked
I
as drawn
disagree.
up. And Cal, it was not a freaking busted play.
I
Because at the end, CJ Stroud, unless you think CJ Stroud was designed to go and run scramble all the way to the right and just keep running, it was not a busted play.
I disagree.
Just because he stopped his rollout, you think, okay, again, he's rolling out. You think CJ Stroud is going to roll out to the outside numbers to throw the ball across the field?
Who is
He
this?
was going to stop regardless.
Who is that? Who is that? Who is for? Is that Andrew Beck? No, that's not Beck.
That's Beck.
Is it Beck?
That's Beck.
Okay. So Beck gets the block.
Yes.
And CJ keeps rolling out, right?
And again, this play is similar to what was drawn up with the Browns, but instead of a tight end, it was two receivers.
So, well, here's my thing then, AD. You tell me this. How come this play couldn't have been designed for CJ to roll out and Tank keeps going here and they find here?
Because again, because you have the corner that has outside leverage. And if you go and you talking about you asking Tank to win on a route, now that would be Bobby poetic. That would be right up Bobby's alley if you asking a receiver that has a guy on your right side to try to make a play and keep going right.
But hold on. When you freeze it right here, AD, look, here's CJ right here. At this point, Jared Wayne is looking back at CJ, right? So if he's looking back at CJ, he can also see what's going on over here with the safety drifting over. At this point, there's two people on him, right? So what does Jared Wayne does what? Because he's open, right? So then CJ now he doesn't know at this point. What I'm trying to tell you is his back is turned now. He doesn't know where Tank is at all. All he knows is I gotta find. Okay, I'll stop right here.
He doesn't know where Tank is, but he does know where Tank's supposed to be.
How though? How when Tank is already coming here?
When a play is when you go in film and you run in film and you running the plays through and everything like that, you know what the play design is.
Right. And so hold on. Even at this point, right? Tank is still going this way. He's going this way. He already seen CJ rolling out. At this point, when he looks back, right? At this point, he looks back, he sees CJ. Now, if CJ lets the ball go right now, what happens?
You telling me that Bobby Slow drew up this play for CJ?
I don't.
No, I'm just talking for the people back because Cal, whatever he's saying, it's a busted play, and Beck didn't hold the block. Again, Cal, are you expecting CJ to roll all the way out past the numbers? If you're asking CJ to roll out all the way past the numbers, then you can say it's a busted play. So, but it's not a busted play because again, I'm not expecting CJ Stroud. Look at what a ball is from the beginning of the play. Look at what a ball is. You asking CJ, you asking the line, you're asking to move everybody to the left and CJ to roll all the way out to the numbers on the right.
But what
past the
y'all?
numbers. That's not a busted play.
But AD, what also is happening
He
is
should stop. He should stop anyway at the hash, regardless.
why?
Regardless if he was making that throw to the right or the left.
Who should stop at the hash?
CJ.
Oh, I thought just okay. My bad. My bad.
No. CJ should have stopped at the hash regardless. There was no he at the end of the day. People want to say it's a busted play. It's not a busted play. Andrew Beck is there. Andrew Beck did not miss his block because
No.
Andrew Beck is blocking outside.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And you talking about Cal, you
I,
talking about Wayne ran his route. Look at the top of the route. If Wayne is running his route, Wayne is running to that void in the middle of C and the pylon. That's him running his route.
so
Tank did not break off his route. Tank ran his route. Tank stemmed him up and cut inside. That's what Tank did.
hold on, AD. I'm gonna let you finish because because I don't want to interrupt you. So I'm letting you rock because I got something I want to say after you finish.
Go ahead, I'm done. Because
So
people gonna disagree, but at
yeah.
the end of the day, I'm not defending Jared Wayne. First of all, you have two people that's been in this offense 2 years in a row, and CJ Stroud and Tank Dell, that have a rapport, that have ran multiple routes in this offense, that have run all different kinds, that have been together in this offense for 2 years. And you have somebody that's not. And you're not about to tell me that the two players that have been in this offense just screwed the play all the way up. And the person that's been in the offense for like 6 months, maybe less, is the one that's 100% right and not not
Well, hold on. Well, you're not going to tell, but
responsible for
but
anything wrong in this route, because again, we keep stopping before we get to the top of Jared Wayne's route, where he stops going to the right and he cuts straight up.
Yeah, because CJ is still here on this side.
But again,
So he turns around to find the open spot.
But hold on, you trying to find an open spot again? If keep playing, if he open spot is over there past the C. That's an open spot.
Look at what he does. When he adjusts, if Tank is not right here, AD, he catches this pass. And so my thing is this: I'm gonna tell you why I disagree. I disagree with you saying, he a young wide receiver, this, that, and that. He's still a wide receiver in the NFL. He got to the NFL. You don't just say, well, I only been in this offense for 2 weeks, so I got to defer to whatever else they're going to do. He's out there trying to make a play too. And so in this play, he's trying to make a play. I don't want to say that the play is busted, but it isn't well executed either, because when we go back and we look from right here, Beck does get the block. Who is this? Hold on. Who is who number 23 is? I don't know. 23 just does a better job of containing. So what he does is Beck gets the block, but he's like, well, if CJ's still rolling, I still have the leverage.
I'm gonna say this because I'm looking at the comments. My bad, Cal. I will take you back to 1 year previous in the playoff game against the Browns. What was that play that CJ Stroud threw the touchdown pass to Dalton Schultz with? He threw it from the right hash across the body to the left for a wide open Dalton Schultz towards the end zone. It's the same exact concept, Cal. So don't sit up here and say you don't throw from one. It's the exact same concept. Yes, you do. In this Bobby Slowick's offensive, that game plan that he's run this play multiple times. This is just a variation of that same play and concept.
What I don't understand is, even if, to me, I feel like Tank is supposed to run this out, Jared is supposed to run this out. When CJ gets here and has to stop and adjust and come back.
So if you asking if you saying that Tank Dell is supposed to cut to the right,
I'm not.
But I'm saying if you're saying that he's supposed to break to the right, I'm just putting it out there as a hypothetical.
Yeah.
If Tank is supposed to break to the right and Jared Wayne is supposed to break to the left, where should the ball be going?
I don't know because CJ is this is an
If
adjustment.
CJ is rolling to the right,
If CJ is rolling to the right, then if Tank still running right and CJ's rolling right, so like you said,
where
CJ should have stopped right here.
that is a more difficult throw than it is for him to throw across.
But he still
wide
throws
open.
across his body though.
I
AD.
I
He
know that,
still does it.
but I'm just going on the premise of with us talking
I
about.
can't see the comments, so I don't know
Okay,
what's saying that.
I'm talking about the premise of people saying, like you said, that it was a busted play.
I never said it was a busted play.
That's why I said people.
Okay.
Now,
So
people saying it was a busted play. If it was a busted play and Tank Dell cuts and breaks to the right instead of breaking to the left, now you're asking CJ to make a throw inside the numbers with a man on his right. You have to layer it over the man's shoulder. Like he would have to make one of those super special CJ Stroud throws to make that pass a completion. And that's why I'm saying that I don't think that Tank Dell ran the wrong route. Tank Dell ran the correct route.
So this is what I'm saying.
And it's layered, and it's layers to it. Because you see Jared Wayne is angling where his end spot is supposed to be around the 5 or whatever, whereas Tank Dell's end spot is supposed to be in the middle of the Chiefs.
So look, so at this point, all he knows is CJ has cut back here and he's getting ready to throw the ball. I don't understand how we supposed to know or he's supposed to know that Tank is here. And how does he know that Tank has this man beat?
So when he turns around, because we still ain't got to the top of his route.
I went to the top of his route like 5 times.
No, keep going.
Okay.
Right, keep going. Right there.
Yeah.
At that point in time, you see Tank.
You don't see Tank.
You see Tank in your peripheral.
This is the ball, AD.
Sarge, you see bodies there.
AD.
You can't tell me this. First of all, he turned around the wrong way.
He turned to go to a spot.
Hold on. He turned around the wrong way.
He turned to get to the AD. He has to contort and adjust his body because if he keeps running it, the ball is right here, AD. If he keeps running this way, ain't no way he gonna get to the ball. He moved his body in order to be able to adjust to the ball. Like that's an adjustment.
Hold on. Can I say the play was a fade to Tank? There was no damn fade to Tank. Come on, dog. Who doing a rollout fade, Cal? Anyways, and you want to talk about Cal no ball? There wasn't no damn fade route.
All I'm saying is like you know that man gets a lot of that man gets a lot of flack for that, but I mean
he gets a lot of flack because one, I would say this: if it was anybody else, it would. If it was Nico Collins, nobody would have said a word. Everybody would have just been devastated. Everybody would have just been devastated that Tank got hurt. I will say this.
You see this point?
I will say this. If it was John Mechie, they would have been trying to find John Mechie's house.
Oh, bro, they'd have done it. Like, remember when was that Jacoby Jones?
Yes.
And they do Jacoby Jones like that. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Jacoby Jones. I think one of the reasons CJ felt so bad was because he threw him. Yeah, I mean, he threw to the open spot. CJ did what he was supposed to do, and that's throw to the open spot, which was in that void. Yeah. I just don't think that he was anticipating both of them to be there.
And for those of y'all, hold on, and those of y'all just joining, like this is what the happy hour was all about, y'all. This ain't the Texans tailgate talk. This is the happy hour, man. When you call the happy hour, you don't never know what's gonna happen at the happy hour. We are an hour and 5 minutes in. We only talked about 2 subjects: Dameon Pierce, 3. Dameon Pierce, Freaky Deaky Deshaun, and Freaky Deaky Deshaun, and now we're talking about that play. I would say that's something that I would have just say that I will agree to disagree because I'm not saying you don't have points. Like you do. Like you have valid points, but there's just some that I disagree with because I think that I don't want to get back into it. We just have points that we disagree with.
Yeah.
Because
but my thing is at the end of the day, I don't think that Jared Wayne is a bad player.
Derek Stingley said he's one of the hardest wide receivers he practiced against.
I mean, they say he's better than Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel.
Hey, let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. Hey, Jared Wayne is not he's just not Jared Wayne is good, bro.
Yeah, he's a good player, and shout out to Chris because Chris was advocating for him as well as being a player to be on this roster, to make the roster, which he didn't make the roster, but Chris was advocating for Jared Wayne to be a part of this team. Rest in peace, Chris Roll. But I don't doubt that he has the ability and he can play. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just think that it's an unfortunate circumstance that's going to stick with him. And you're going to, for Texan fans, you're going to be known as the guy that hurt Tank Dell.
Yeah.
Until you do something to erase that memory out of people's mind. So, unfortunately, I mean, it is what it is. The moniker is going to be Nick Killer.
Could be worse. I mean, rest in peace. He could be remembered like Jeff Arm. Hey, look, man, let's go ahead and what? No.
Go.
I'm just saying, like,
go.
No, I'm just saying, like, he could. You know what? Don't even worry about it, AD. We gotta go.
He should be like a heel for wrestling. He should be like Tessa Tangent say he should embrace it.
Who should?
Jared. He should embrace it and be the heel and be, hated or whatever, and just go out there and use it as motivation and prove it. People gonna be booing you at training camp. Just go out there and make one-handed catches and moss people out practice. What make people instead of them saying boo, make them say ooh, and all that.
Like young NBA. Ooh, ooh. Hey, look, AD. I seen that you first of all, you had a great clip. You had a very good clip of Nick Caley talking about the offensive line. And I felt like that was a
question.
Huh?
I wonder who asked that question.
I know, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, that was a great clip. But AD, I want to jump right into there's a lot of questions and still a lot of unknowns and uncertainties when it comes to the new offensive coordinator and Nick Caley. But I want to hear some of the things that he said during his press conference after OTAs on Friday.
Of the position, they take a lot of pride in what they do. Yeah, they love football.
What does the Nick Caley offense look like?
Well, it depends on the players we got, and that's not a cop-out. That's the reality of it. So it can evolve, be willing to change and do whatever we need to do that's necessary based on who we have and who we're playing. Whether that's, again, you want to get big in terms of multiple personnel or not, gap schemes or zone schemes, committing to more play action or not, that's going to really be dependent on, what your personnel dictates and who you have available. So again, that's the great part about this year is we get to do a lot of different things and really put a lot of guys in different positions to run certain routes, some of them which some of these guys have never done anything, or certain routes that we have, and they might be just exclusively outside receivers that we're working inside and vice versa. So it's a good opportunity just to see what these guys can do.
CJ said that he's going to have a little bit more on his plate at the quarterback position than maybe he'd had his first 2 years. What kind of goes into that, and what sort of things maybe be on his plate that previously he hadn't been asked?
Yeah, I think it's like anything else. The more you can do, the better off you're going to end up being, and he wants to have the ability to be able to have control. And when you're at that position, there's a lot of great value in being able to fix problems that come up or unscouted looks that come up. And it doesn't happen overnight, that's for sure. And it's repetition, it's comfort with the offense. He's working hard, he's done a good job, and we'll just keep growing that.
Nick, how long OTAs are you going to use? OTAs and minicamp are you going to use to be able to watch what the offensive line can do and how you all are mixing and matching right now, but how much of that are you going to be able to use to solidify going into training camp?
Yeah, I think it's like anything else. I don't think anything's going to be solved here in the next 2 weeks, okay? But it is obviously a progression. There's things in this time of the year with not having pads on. We can't hit gap double teams. We're not going to come off the ball and capture zone combinations as much. When you get into training camp, a lot of those things come to life, which obviously carries over into the play action game. Your play passes on early downs and passing off picks and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more of a controlled environment. But we're certainly going to build off everything we do and continue to build up until the time we report back here.
Nick, obviously CJ's watching during throwing part of the practice today. Where is he physically? What are you asking of him right now?
Yeah, he's locked in every step of the way. No concerns whatsoever. I know D'Amico's already hit on this. Everybody's got a specific routine relative to their own routine, specific to whatever, through whether it's football, whether it's athletic training, etc. And he's doing a great job, and he's out here and he's working. It starts in the film room, starts in the meeting and the preparation, going into it and trying to prepare and learn the details and the nuances of everything we're doing. You get mental reps out here. I mean, being out here, he's involved in all the communication. He's tapped in, he's into it. So I've been very pleased when he's out here. Yeah, the fun part for me, to be honest with you, is establishing a foundation, which we talked about in phase one, just the terminology, the nomenclature, the language, okay, getting past that barrier. And, there is some same as, some of the verbiage. And then the second thing I would say is establishing the fundamentals, how we want to hit blocks, how we want to run routes, okay, what the routes are called. And I would say the third element of that, to piggyback off that, is really teaching the details of it, specifically how you want to run routes. What are the concepts? What are the details of the concepts, et cetera? What's the intent of the play? And I think that's an important part. Like, we don't just call plays to call plays. There's an intentionality of why we're calling every single play for specific reasons. And I think that this is a great opportunity to really establish that foundation and move forward with that. Yeah, just clarity and communication, building a foundation, encouraging them to ask why. There's no questions that, should be left at the table. If you got a question, you need to know, ask. And they've done a great job of that. We got really, really good coaching staff, of really good teachers and really good people. And I think understanding that we are in this together. This isn't coaches, we're in this together. We're Texans. And this is what we're going to do, and just keep moving the needle day by day and just try to stack days, to be honest with you. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
So, AD, first impression of Nick Caley. You on mute? Did I mute you?
Yeah, you trying
No,
to.
you. Look, hey, wait, hey, look.
He trying to listen to people. He trying
You can't mute me. Hey, you can't mute me. I'm co-hosting this Spaces. Remember that?
Hey, let me say this. For Nick Caley, man, tell me you from New England without telling me you from New England. Using
and
the
been
word
around Sean McVay too.
Hold on, using the word relative. Okay, when he used the word relative, I was like, okay, all right, we got it, we know. But all in all, I do like his energy, I like his passion, and I think that he is very, very knowledgeable and knows what he wants to do. He knows how to maneuver the questions of the media by asking and trying to get insight of what the offense is going to look like in May. And him navigating and basically like letting you know in so many words, in a word salad of like Nick Caserio, you'll see when you see.
Facts.
So it's gonna be what it is when you see it on the field. But right now, we just running through a myriad of a lot of things. Yeah. So and again, you really not gonna know what they can do or what he will do until the pass are put on as well.
Yeah.
Because that'll determine what your offense should be, and that really is based on your offensive line. If your offensive line can handle certain things that you've been teaching and installing when the pass come on, if they're weak at this and they're weak at that, or strong at this, strong at that, then that'll determine what the offense is. And that's what I like about it. And, shout out to Doc Larry Payton. I had a, disagreement with him because I think it's going to be a game plan offense. It's going to change week to week. You're not going to see the same rigmarole every week, that you can be taken advantage of. It has its advantages and disadvantages. But I say it like this: if we had a game plan offense last year with all the interest we had on the offensive side of football, we probably would have been in an AFC Championship game. You know, we would have
Yeah.
won an additional 2 games in the season. We would have won that Detroit game.
Yeah.
We would have won that Tennessee game at home that we lost. You know, we would have won those games, and just winning those 2 games alone would have put us, you know, in the freaking number 1, number 2 seed.
Yeah.
We should have beat the Packers if we had a game plan offense.
Yep.
You know, all of these games that we lost in the second half because of lack of adjustments and lack of changes, that's what we needed. And you put in the offense in CJ's hands, and you're allowing him to kind of dictate and him to learn along the way in the process. I said this. I was on the Texans on 3 podcast on Friday. Shout out Cal, Nitty, Patton, and those guys. Is that we look at it and people have a distaste for the New England offense. And people have a distaste for the Shanahan West Coast offense. Some do. But I look at it like this: from Nick Caley coming from the Patriot system and him coming from Sean McVay's system, because Sean McVay has his own offensive system. 2 things are true. They run the ball effectively in both spots. In New England, they ran the ball effectively. In LA, they ran the ball effectively. In both spots, they also put the ball in their playmakers' hands and had them make plays. In New England, it was Tom Brady putting that ball in Gronk's hand. It was Tom Brady putting that ball in Wes Welker and Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, and even Aaron. I don't know if we can say his name, Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
That was New England's offense, putting the ball in Randy Moss, putting the ball in those playmakers' hands and letting them go to work.
Chad Ochocinco.
And then you running the ball effectively with a Corey Dillon, with whatever them little small multiple running backs that they had going in and out of lineup, that for whatever reason they always were able to hit the hole, run the ball very, very effectively. Then you go to LA. What did Sean McVay do with Jared Goff? He put the ball in Brandon Cook's hands and Todd Gurley's hands, and he put the ball in Tavon Austin's hands, and he let those guys make the plays. Then you go back to Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford puts the ball in Puka Nakua's hands. He put the ball in Cooper Kupp's hands, and they made plays, and they ran the ball effectively. That is what I feel like you're going to get from Nick Caley in this offense. And I feel like people say, well, they gonna try to make CJ a game manager. I don't think that Tom Brady was a game manager. I don't think that Matthew Stafford is a game manager. I think they're playmakers. But like I said on the Texans on 3, I'm gonna use this word, and I'm taking credit for it. I already put copyright. I put some copyright paperwork in the future, so I don't need y'all stealing this. They're gonna make CJ Stroud a game maker. Okay. He's going to manipulate and be methodical like a Tom Brady, but he has the talent of a Matthew Stafford, arm talent of Matthew Stafford, to make crazy plays when need be.
Yeah. And so when it comes to Nick Caley, man, and I've said this before, I said this on the former show that I was on, is that I like the fact that Nick Caley was hired. I like the fact that they went with Nick Caley, not so much from the New England days, but I like the fact that he is coming from Sean McVay. Sean McVay is by far one of the smartest coaches I've ever seen coach in the NFL, and that's including Bill Belichick. But when you look at Sean McVay, man, and the way that he's able to manipulate the offense to where he puts everybody, just like you said, he puts everybody in position to be able to be great. Nobody knew that Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp could do what they did, but Sean McVay. And that's why I like the fact that I'm looking at Nico Collins, and I like Jaden Higgins. I feel like they're going to be that 1-2 punch. And, of course, you got to throw in Christian Kirk and what they're going to do with Jalen Noel, but I like the Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp Matthew Stafford comparison with what you have on this offense and being around Sean McVay. I mean, you think about it, man. How many coaches got hired just from being around Sean McVay? I mean, Cliff Kingsbury got a job just because he got good hair like Sean McVay, just because they text each other from time to time.
Little known fact, if we had brought in Cliff Kingsbury along with Bobby Slowick will still be the offensive coordinator to this day.
Why you say that?
Cliff Kingsbury. So one thing that me and Jules, Swan, and Chris and everybody talked about when we hired Bobby Slowick is that you wanted to bring somebody that had experience, real life experience as an offensive coordinator along in the building. And I know they brought in, what's his name, who's still here, or he was here, from San Diego. What's his name?
What does he do?
He was an OC for the Chargers at one point, I think. He's an offensive assistant.
Shapinsky?
No, that's who the veteran they brought in to help Kaylee. But I'm talking about the guy that was here last year with Bobby Slowick.
Okay, not Bill Lazor.
There you go, Bill Lazor. Bill Lazor. Okay. We were looking for somebody that really was effective as an offensive coordinator. Yeah. And I think that if you would have brought him in kind of in that Bill Lazor role, because at the end of the day, he just needed a job.
Yeah.
Because he was still getting paid from the Cardinals. He just needed a job. You put him in that room with Bobby Slowick to help him teach Bobby. Then maybe last year you can let Bobby go and let the reins go and let Bobby have it. But look what he did with Jaden Daniels in Washington. You know, and because that's my thing. I think people think about the head coach.
Well, wait. Hold on. Don't lose that thought because I'm old. I lose my thought. That's why I got paper right here because I write it down. Don't get me wrong. I like Cliff Kingsbury, even though I don't like the way that he did USC, but I do like Cliff Kingsbury. He did USC wrong.
It don't matter. I take that list. As long as it ain't nobody in maroon or the purple and gold, I'm all right.
Hey, but look, but here's the thing, right? So, like, I mean, we've seen Cliff Kingsbury at Texas Tech. I think he's a good offensive mind. I don't think he's a great offensive mind.
He's great.
Seen him at
I think he's great because I think people get confused. Take head coach Cliff Kingsbury away. Look at him as strictly an offensive coordinator in college and in the pros, and tell me something different. And tell me he's not.
Because Arizona's offense never really just blew me away. Like I was never just very impressed. Like I like Kyler Murray,
because you're talking about head coach Cliff Kingsbury,
who had a say in the offense.
But there's a difference. There's a difference when you have a guy who is just a strictly offensive-minded guy, and you're asking him to have input everywhere.
Oh wait, hold on.
It takes
no. I can't let you get away with that, AD. Because what's the head coach's name in Cincinnati?
And he about to get fired.
No, but what's his name? What's the head coach's name in Cincinnati?
I don't remember.
He came from the Sean McVay tree.
What's his name?
I can't think of his name right now. But when he is the head coach, but I mean that offense don't do too bad, and he has he got head coaching duties, but he's also
Zach Taylor. Who was the OC before last year? Who's the OC?
I don't know.
The head coach of the Tennessee Titans right now was the OC.
Well, I don't even know what that dude's name.
Callahan.
Oh, yeah, I'm not worried about that because.
But I'm saying that.
Well, wait, hold on. Kevin O'Connell. What about Kevin O'Connell?
Yes.
He's a head coach, but he's very heavily involved in that offense as well, right? So Zach Taylor with the Bengals and Kevin O'Connell with the Minnesota Vikings. Those are two coaches that had head coaching duties, but also was able to have their offenses ran effectively. So
I'll give you a counter because Rodney just brought it up. Josh McDaniel was a trash head coach, but he was an excellent offensive coordinator.
Josh McDaniels was good when he had the Superman, the
Josh,
GOAT.
look,
Josh McDaniels didn't look
Josh
great.
McDaniels made Tim Tebow playable.
AD, hold on, man. Hold on. I can't let you get away with this stuff, AD. Okay, so hold on, because I want to talk about Cliff Kingsbury in Washington. Before he was in Washington, where else was he an OC?
Goodbye to Texas University. So long, and Jenna White. Hey, right there, it made Johnny Manziel a Heisman Trophy winner. That offense was potent with just Johnny Manziel
And Mike Evans.
and Mike Evans.
And Mike Evans.
Yes,
Right?
made Mike Evans Mike Evans.
Mike Evans was Mike Evans already.
Sarge, when Mike Evans got to Texas A&M, Mike Evans was a basketball player.
Yeah, in Galveston ball. You're right. He just started playing football.
Cliff Kingsbury made Mike Evans Mike Evans.
So, and how far what did they do that year?
They should have been in the. They should have been in the.
I didn't ask you what they should have been. I'm asking what they did, right? So he was
they lost one game,
and then he went where? Right after that, he went where?
He went to be the head coach.
So
He went to go coach Patrick Mahomes.
Well, with that being said, let's get back to
Went to go coach the greatest quarterback of all time right now, Patrick Mahomes. Next to Tom
Texas
Brady.
Tech.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they were not good
Because he was the head coach.
Well, he was still involved in the offense.
I'm telling you again, if he's the offensive coordinator, good things happen.
Okay, so hold on.
I'm just saying, look at the spots that he was the offensive coordinator and he was not the head coach.
How many years was he successful as an offensive coordinator?
Every year that he was one.
Consecutive.
Ain't my fault he got a head coaching job.
Okay, so with that being said, right? You know what Cliff Kingsbury was last season? Bobby Slowick in year one with CJ Stroud. Don't nobody have nothing on Jaden Daniels. Don't nobody have anything on what Cliff Kingsbury is going to do with that offense. The Washington Commanders were the Houston Texans last year. And now this year, they're going to play a totally different schedule. They're going to play a harder schedule, and they have film and tape on Jaden Daniels.
They're going to
hold on. With that being said,
false start.
There were still some games where you look and the offense looked horrible. Well, they don't have no offensive line either. So,
I mean, they got the great false starter.
Well, all I'm saying is I want to see what he's going to be able to do. I want to see what year two, because I think that he could possibly be like Bobby Slowick in year two. I think Cliff Kingsbury should have. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wish Cliff would have left and came to the Texans. I was one of the ones advocating, hey man, go get Cliff Kingsbury, right? Bring him here. I'm not finna be no hypocrite and say that I don't think that he should have been here. But what I'm saying is that I don't put Cliff Kingsbury, when I start talking about like great offensive minds, I'm talking about Sean McVay. I'm talking about Kevin O'Connell. I'm talking about Zach Taylor.
I'm gonna reiterate what I mean by when I said I wanted Cliff here and Bobby would have still been an OC here, is that he would have made Bobby better. Because at the end of the day,
Bobby would have been looking over his shoulder.
No, I'm not. So this is the thing. Because I think at the end of the day, Cliff just wanted a job so he can get paid. Let's be honest. He didn't want to He didn't want to lose that buyout money from Arizona.
Yeah.
So you bring him in as a advisor, consultant. At the end of the day, you help Bobby by teaching him how to call plays. I think Bobby had good concepts at certain points. I think that the biggest thing was with Bobby was actual down and distance, when to call a play, when not to call a play, when to do certain things, when not to do certain things. Those little minor things would have helped him extremely, because going into the next year, he would have had that kind of teaching behind him. And
He
my thing
overthought a lot too, AD.
exactly.
He
It would have
overthought a lot of things. Where
exactly.
at some point, I mean, not at some point, but sometimes you just got to be like, shit, I don't really have no play for this. I don't really. CJ, what do you have? Hey, CJ, what you got? Like, instead of always, oh my God, with the X's and the O's, and if the defense, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, sometimes you got to just, hey, look, come here. Let me look, come here. All right, this you right here, CJ, and this you, Dalton. This is you, Nico. Okay, so I
Get
want
open.
right, huh?
Get open.
Yeah, exactly. Just
And
do
that,
that.
and that's the thing is that Cliff would have helped with that by simplifying things, because at the end of the day, Cliff, and what makes it so successful, what makes it, you have players be playable with Cliff Kingsbury, and you see him, do things with certain players that probably shouldn't have played at all, is that he makes things simple. He runs simple concepts. He makes things very easy for an offense to pick up, which is why, you see the struggles or whatever, because it's too easy.
You think Sean? You think that I'm about to call him Sean McVay Jr. I think that Nick Caley, right? Getting back to Nick Caley real quickly. I think that that's what's going to happen, because behind the scenes, I'm talking to a lot of people. They are very excited by just looking at this at this offense. If you go, for those of y'all who hasn't listened to my full interview with Houston Texans offensive lineman Juice Scruggs. In that interview, I asked him some of the differences between the Bobby Slowick offense and the early look at Nick Caley's offense, and he talks about that. I put this out on social media. When you look at what CJ is very excited about this playbook, and even when we were listening to what when we asked what does a Nick Caley offense look like, I think that. So going back to what we were just talking about, and this is what I wanted to say. This is what I wanted to say when we were talking about the Tank Dell and the Jared Wayne play, right? We went into that and we watched it, and we watched it get all, however murky or whatever the case may be. We could say, some people say busted play, some people say making adjustments, some people say wrong route or whatever the case may be. That was a lot of how it went, AD, throughout the entire season. And so there was it was a lot of times that the players and the coaches weren't on the same page, and we always immediately go to Bobby Slowick, right? We immediately go to Bobby Slowick because he's the offensive coordinator, and we're going to place the blame on him. But Ben McDaniels has a lot to do with that as well. And for those of y'all don't know, Ben McDaniels is the wide receivers coach. And so some of those route concepts that he's the passing game coordinator too, right?
Yeah.
So he's the passing game coordinator and he's the wide receivers coach. So at some point, if you're looking at Bobby and you're watching Bobby draw up these long developing plays, that's going to take your wide receivers time to. Another thing, real quick, side note. So like I said, we blame Bobby, and I said that Ben McDaniel should have gotten some of the blame, but you also got to look at with Ben McDaniel's looking and Bobby Slowick looking, and then you should have been like, Chris ain't doing his job. So by Chris not, and I'm talking about Chris Strauss, the former offensive line coach. So if you're not doing your job, I can't. If Chris ain't getting these players coached up to be able to block these long developing plays, why are we still calling these long developing plays? Why are the wide receivers still running these long ass routes? And you know that CJ is not going to have the time to get there. And that's where the big brain Bobby comes in, right? I should patent that last year. This is what big brain Bobby comes in, and he's like, it doesn't matter. We're going to do this. We're going to blah, 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 blah. There's a wide receiver on the Houston Texans that I talked to last season, and I was like, hey, man, I'll be watching I was watching some of the, you know, I go back and I watch and I do the film study and I'm watching and I'm watching and I'm watching and hey man, you went out on this route. I said, hey, look, I don't know what the play was called. I'm playing Monday morning quarterback. I'm watching the film just like y'all are. But hey man, so you went out on this route, right? And if you break in, you had all the space available. But you came off and you took the cornerback with you, and the safety was playing up top, and you ran directly into the safety. Whereas if this safety, they playing single high, you on the left-hand side, this safety had took that third, and this safety had took that third, and the middle of the field was wide open. Hey, why you just didn't cut? He said, let me ask you a question, Sarge. You think I didn't cut into that wide open space because I don't know how to run routes? You think I didn't cut into that wide open space because I haven't been playing football long enough to get me to this spot? Or you think I didn't run, or do you think that I didn't run into that space because I was told run the route, trust the route? You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? And so a lot of times we go back and we're looking and we're playing Monday morning quarterback, and a lot of the some of those wide receivers was like, I seen a whole lot of daylight where I could have been, but I also know they kept telling me, hey, run the route, run the route, run the route. You don't run the route, it's not gonna, well, we're not gonna be able to execute the play if you don't run the route. So there was a lot of times where you couldn't, you know, some of the plays they couldn't improvise when they should have been able to improvise. So I just don't. I'm glad that it when listening to what Nick Caley was saying about some of these route concepts are brand new to these wide receivers. They never ran them or seen them before. That had a lot to do with Bobby, but that also has a lot to do with Ben McDaniels.
Yeah,
so,
and he still hit on.
But so it's different though. It's different though now though.
Yeah.
Because now you got the offensive coordinator and the offensive line coach and the GM like this.
Well, you got to think about it. Ben McDaniels is like that too, because his brother and the GM and the offensive line coach is like this.
But his brother ain't here though. You feel me? AD, I know you got to get out of here, man. But I just wanted it's too easy to talk about the defense. It's too easy to talk about the defense. I wanted to make sure that the last thing I want to step into your wheelhouse, man. I want to step into your expertise, the offensive line. Side note. Hey, for those of you all out there who are watching, and I know you're watching, I had an excellent, outstanding conversation with Ladarius Henderson. Like an outstanding conversation with Ladarius Henderson.
So I got a question though.
We laughed, we joked. I should text
when you came up to him and say, "What's up, Ladarius?" and you asked him a question.
Wait, hold on. When I came up to him and I said, "What's up, Ladarius?" or when I came up and he's like, "Sarge, what's going on?"
Or whatever. Either way, the first question you asked,
Lexington.
I see. Did he say first and foremost, I want to give, all glory and honor and praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Because I think LD is one of those CJ Stroud type of guys when it comes to the Lord.
Hey, hold on. For sure, he leads Bible studies here. So do you know what he used to do when he was at Arizona State and at Michigan? He doesn't hide his faith. He is a devout Christian. Matter of fact, I got a clip I'm gonna put out when I asked about how much did his faith and his family help him get through his injury last season and keep him sane. Now he's a devout Christian. When he was at Arizona State, he was when he was in high school, he was leading Bible studies. Then he had one at Arizona State. Then he had one at Michigan. And
what
now
was
he
that
has
Christian association that we had back in the day that everybody was the Christian Athlete Association? Yeah. What was it called?
FCA?
Yeah. Everybody was a part. We all was a part of that.
Yeah, but you was you thought the F stood for freaky. Hey, I thought this was for the freaky Christians.
Now, what you want to talk about is those
PKs.
Hold on, not just them drummers, them musicians, and if you was in the choir, if you was anywhere on the pulpit, behind the pulpit, You was
No.
doing something you weren't supposed to be doing.
Wait, AD, no.
Mm-mm.
At PV, ain't you in the Christian fraternity? I mean sorority.
Mm.
Don't y'all ain't y'all over what's
Well,
his name?
I got a PV story for you right now. Girl was about her faith. She was all about her faith. This was homecoming weekend. Guess
Last
who
year?
come? No, man. That's when I was in school. No, I don't know nothing about what them children got going on. Those are children. I don't know
Well,
what
I thought no. I thought you may have ran into her at
No.
homecoming.
No.
Okay, my bad.
No, this is one of my stories that I will tell forever because I remember it like it was yesterday. It's homecoming weekend, and they have the Friday before, they always have a little gospel, little extravaganza, whatever. Girl was, part of all the little Christian groups around campus. She was so excited. This how long ago this was. This when Instagram first came out. This is when Instagram first came out. And with the little white and blue lining around. This was way back when. And she was so excited because we back then we had big time. Because that weekend we had Rick Ross and Lil Wayne and T.I. after the step show at homecoming. So that was one of the big ones. We had Kurt Franklin coming with the gospel explosion thing on that Friday. She taking pictures and all that stuff and whoop, smiling and grinning and so excited that Kurt Franklin is there. That next night, after it's all said and done, she out there in that little pond, in that little, what we call it? What we call it over there?
No way.
She was out there
No
on
way.
video, on a camera, on a flip camera phone, busting it wide open, butt naked in the water, twerking.
You know what? So
Twerking.
crazy. I seen that video.
and what's
Somebody
crazy,
posted that on social media.
because the next day they was putting a side by side of her with Kurt Franklin and her in the water twerking on Instagram. And all this before Twitter, this for all that. This is just Facebook and Instagram. And I said, I'll never forget it. So yes, the church that you can be saved and be holy at the same time.
Hey, look, you see, that's my pettiness would have got me probably. I'd have been in flames right there because I'd have been like, oh, let me touch you and see if you are real. Oh man, hey, look, AD, yes. That story had nothing to do with Ladarius Henderson.
No, I don't know how we got there.
Has nothing to do with Ladarius Henderson.
No, because you trying to call me freaky. That's how I got there.
You was part of the Freaky Christian Association, man. I'm just saying, bro. That's before you went to hang out. That's before you start using your government name at A&M, Texas A&M. Hey, but look, when you look at this, when you look at this offensive line, right? And the one thing that I have said on numerous occasions is I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is Titus is going to be there somewhere. I don't know where Titus is going to be, but Titus is going to be on that line as well. And go, hey, look, once again, you listen to that my interview on the Texas Tailgate Talk YouTube channel. You hear what Juice Scruggs had to say about Titus, something that I had been preaching leading up to having that conversation with Titus. But with that being said, AD, you look at this offensive line, and of course, it's just patchwork right now because, like you said, hey, man, look, nothing is really set in stone except, like I said, I got it set in stone that Titus is going to play somewhere. AD, I don't like Titus at right guard.
Why not?
It just doesn't look fluid at right guard.
So I'm gonna tell you this because at the end of the day, he was a right tackle.
Yes.
So, and he was a left tackle.
And he's a left guard.
He's a left guard. And I think for purposes of, and I'm going to just be honest, I'm going to say that like this, you're not, as much as people want to love Ariante Ursery,
he's not ready.
He should not see the field. And that's like you just said, he's not ready.
Not now. Like
right.
Training camp, he's not ready. Maybe coming out of OTAs, he's not ready. Maybe coming out of training camp. The only reason I say that though, AD, is because he has to build his NFL body. He still has his college body.
And I'm gonna say this: I don't want any fluctuation during the season. If your starting line is healthy the first week and 2 weeks and they performing well, that be your that unless it's a major injury, that's your line the whole season. I don't need if Ursary is not the starter and Cam is playing decent and well enough and not being a total liability out there, Ursary needs to stay where he is and be there on extra points and field goals and on goal line situations as a third tackle. That's where he needs to be. I don't need to see too much fluctuation. Going back to the point of, and that's what I mean by I need him to sit, because that's what should have happened with Blake Fisher last year. If Laramie Tunsil doesn't get injured, and if Kenyon Green is not unplayable, then we don't see Blake Fisher at all last year. And let's be real. If Titus didn't have to move to left guard because Kenyon Green was unplayable, we wouldn't have seen Blake Fisher at right tackle.
Well, hold on, AD. Hold on. With that being said, real quickly, that's why on two separate occasions that when I said on the podcast, two separate occasions. The first thing when I said about Titus should come into this season with the mindset of being a captain, because Laramie is gone. He's the next person he's the next person up in that room that had the longest tenured offensive lineman that's been here. He steps up. There's no Shaq Mason with that Super Bowl experience or whatever the case may be. So I feel like it's time for him to step up, to him to put that C on his chest. But I also said he can't fight for the C on his chest for the season if you're going to keep moving him around. Find a position for Titus, sit him him wherever you're going to put him, and let him develop his habits, his playing habits, his game day habits going into, because if you keep moving him around, he's never going to be able to develop where he needs to develop, where you're going to put him. That's the first thing.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I think that's why they brought in the depth that they brought in, so that you don't have to move him. I think you have enough at the tackle position when what's his name that we brought in from New England?
Ingram, Laken Tomlinson.
No, the tackle. Thank you.
Cam Robinson,
the other one, the one we brought from New England.
Trent Brown.
When and if Trent Brown gets healthy and is a full participant, you have enough depth there at tackle where you have, if you wanted to, you can carry 4 tackles, meaning 2 young guys, 2 veterans, and Trent Brown and Cam Robinson and Ursary and Blake Fisher as your tackle, where you don't have to rely on Titus as a tackle. When it comes to guard, like you said, Ed Ingram, you brought in enough competition interior wise that you don't have to move him side to side. Laken Tomlinson is a guy. Ed Ingram is a guy. Ladarius Henderson is a guy. Does he win? I pray to God he does. I don't see why he wouldn't. But I'm gonna say this: when it comes to Titus Howard, and the reason why I'm okay with it, with the right guard spot, I said this months ago, is that him being next to a young Blake Fisher benefits Blake Fisher tremendously, rather than you putting a Ladarius Henderson at right guard or somebody that's kind of still new at right guard. So then rather than put, let's say, okay, Blake Fisher would benefit a Titus Howard at right guard rather than a Ladarius Henderson, Jared Patterson, or Juice Scruggs playing right guard next to him.
But here's my thing, though, AD. So, first of all, Titus is the best tackle they have on this team, right or left. I'm gonna be honest with you, right or left, Titus is the best. Titus is. You remember when Laramie was out and Titus played left tackle?
Mm-hmm.
Titus looked damn good at left tackle. He'll tell you, "I am a tackle," right? Mm-hmm. I'm a tackle. That's what I am. last week when I'm watching him and during OTAs and I'm seeing him at the right guard spot, you could tell that he wasn't as comfortable as the right guard spot as when they stuck him out there right tackle, and he went up against he went up against Will 3 times. Right now, Will won 2, but one of the moves, Will just I had never seen Will do that move before either. Will put a move on Titus. I was like, okay, he been doing something in the offseason, but like they have battles. Like him and Will, they have battles, and Titus looks so comfortable at the right tackle position. He just looks comfortable. As soon as they put him over there at the right tackle, and I forgot who they had at right guard, I wasn't even paying attention because I'm like, oh shit, they didn't put Titus at right tackle. When I tell you, he just looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say great, he just looks natural. At that right guard position, he does not look natural. And now, when have we ever seen Titus play right guard? When last time we seen Titus play right guard?
Rookie year.
So he going to his 7th season?
Mm-hmm.
His 7th or 8th
No, it
season?
ain't no 7. I think it's his 6th. Thought it was his 6th year.
Titus came in 2019.
8. He came in, was it 2019? So it's his 6th year.
7th year.
7th, then. Yeah.
7th. Because what you call it got here in 2017, right?
Who?
Deshaun.
Yeah, Titus and Laramie came at the same time.
2019.
Mm-hmm. Then that was Titus was drafted to be the left tackle. And thank you, Matt Khalil. If Matt Khalil wasn't all god awful, then Titus Howard would be the left tackle to this day. It wouldn't have been no Laramie Tunsil trade. But that's
this is what I was gonna say though.
No,
so I was just gonna say, like, you put him at right guard, and we know that these things are gonna change. Just like that's why I asked Nick Caley that question about, are you just using this to get film to watch and see heading into training camp? I don't like him at right guard. I just don't. If we're gonna play him anywhere, put him somewhere where he's used to playing. You put him over there at the left guard position, then you let these other players, or you figure it out at the right guard position. Ain't that why you went out and got Ingram? Ain't that why you went out and got, like, I'm gonna be honest with you too. So, and this was my second point I was gonna bring up. I know that he wasn't the best right guard, but they looked a whole lot better when he played right guard. And one of the biggest regrets I think that D'Amico may have, if he has any regrets from last season, is bringing Shaq Mason back in the divisional round to play right guard instead of just leaving Juice at right guard. I don't think Juice is a bad guard. I just think he needs to learn a little bit more. What is he going into his third? This is 3rd year, right?
Mm-hmm.
His first year he wasn't healthy. Second year he switching positions, going back and forth. I just look at it as he should be able to what you call it, man. I just feel like he should be able to get that opportunity and that chance. I don't like him at right guard. And no, go ahead. No. Folks, look, we getting out of here on this, right? Because I gotta have you back, of course. Now you want to talk about, so like it was news, but it really wasn't news. It would be the equivalent. You know what? Who was that retired today?
Ronald Darby.
It's the equivalent to when they like, we brought back Lonnie Johnson. Wow.
Well, it is a whole nother topic, and I'm gonna be real. That's something we're gonna talk about on the H-Town Rundown on Wednesday.
Okay, then. So I won't say. I'm gonna jump in though, and then you know what I'm gonna say. Ronald Darby was number 21. I got a picture of him if you want me to post it, but I don't even. I can't tell you one thing I remember about Ronald Darby in OTAs.
Man, I just don't want to depend on Tremont Smith.
So, with that being said, I don't think you will. I think some of these younger defensive backs are going to surprise you. I've been watching some of these young defensive backs. I'm telling you, man.
I'm holding out hope for another LA Charger former LA Charger.
Who?
Daddy played in the league.
No, not Cromartie. Who?
Asante Samuel Jr. when he, get on the up and up. Go on, you got this Shaq, make some money out the way. Go on, toss a little bread to old buddy to come in and be reserved. And I already know it's one of them J's. That may impact the game. I call him crash out. You call him crash out. He's a crash out.
All I'm gonna say is Kamari and Kalen are best friends, right?
We're brothers.
They're
We're
joining
happy and
together,
we're
right?
and we're colored. Do.
Give me a high five. You ever seen the movie Three Amigos?
Mm-hmm.
You know who the third amigo is? You know who going to be the third amigo? Jaden Smith.
Yeah, the crash out. That's what I've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Crash out.
Hey. Because you have no choice. You have no choice but to step your game up when you watching Kamari play.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got no choice. Like, there is no choice. Like, I said this last week, I'll say it again. Kamari is Kevin Garnett in football pants. He is Kevin Garnett in football pants. And I would say Anthony Edwards. He probably would say Anthony Edwards because they both from Georgia. But
I don't need him being like Anthony Edwards, but that's another story for another thing.
AD, tell them where they can find you at, man.
You find me at the H-Town Rundown on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, app formerly known as Twitter, Facebook. We got a website, htownrundown.org. So go ahead and follow us on our TikTok. Follow us on all social media platforms at the H-Town Rundown.
When is the next show?
Wednesday night at 7:30.
What do y'all got on tap? Don't tell me because there's content thieves. I was just don't do it.
Hey,
they struggling.
Let me say this: when you're a creator, it doesn't matter how much they steal, because they can't create. I will say this: I had people that were co-hosts with me and have been on since I've started the H-Town Rundown about 5 different podcasts since I've been, because they don't have a creative bone in their body. And I'm being petty and I'm being shady at the same time.
Hey, shit, this the Petty Podcast. My boy.
Right now.
My boy.
What you do, H-Town Rundown we're going into our 3rd year of running this podcast. So we've been one of the strongholds and being consistent and running the weekly podcast. And no, Sarah, that's not the one I'm talking about, but it was his co-host.
My boy.
It was his co-host, though.
Hey, you can say his name. Hey, we talking about Chubby Wubby was a bear. That's what I'm talking about.
I ain't talking about him because I never did host the podcast with him. I'm talking about his co-host.
Let me tell you something. I'd rather, if I'm on, don't even. I wouldn't want him to throw water on me if I was burning, and he'd be good. I can help you, Sarge. No, sir. I'm going to heaven. Leave me alone. I don't want you to help me do nothing. Hey, what was that? What they said on Soul Man? Good artists borrow, great artists steal. Who said that? I think it was a great what he said, it is the great literary scholar or something. He's like, no, man, that was Bebe now. Hey, Bebe. Hey, you know what I'm talking about?
Hey, great movie, classic movie. I don't know why it's not put up as one of the classics, man.
Get the out my grill or you get killed. AD, thank you, man, for joining, bro. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
We got to do this again, man. Maybe after minicamp, man. Let me be a guest on you all's show, because I ain't seen the other white Mike in a long time. I gotta say something to Swan. I ain't seen Doc in a minute. Jules, I gotta make sure that I definitely get over there and talk to him. I told you. Oh, you know, Jules, I seen pictures of Jules at the Astros game. I was like, boy, that white woman got him hooked. Jules, I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, what's the movie with Eddie Griffin where he was was it
You talking about
Undercover Brother?
Undercover Brother?
Yeah, that's what Jules looks like now. Hi guys. I'd like to have some mayonnaise on a sandwich, please. Thank you. Oh, hey, hold on. Where is it at? I gotta find it. Hold on. I gotta find it for you. What is Woody Mark's first name?
Jaquavius.
That's probably what it said. Jaquavius. How you doing? Jaquavius Marks, running back for the Houston Texans. Oh, is that mayonnaise you have there? Can I have a little bit of it? Thanks, AD.
Absolutely. Appreciate you so much, sir.
Appreciate you too. All right, y'all know who that was, man. That was AD from the H Town. Ooh, hold on. Watch me do this too. AD, can you still hear me? Watch this. Kick from studio. Kick guest. Bye. Hey, listen. I had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with you all, so I wanted to make sure that I came on here and spend as much time as I could with you all. They got Will Levis mayonnaise in the coffee. I wanted to make sure that I spent some time with you all and make sure that we all caught up. I got a really good interview coming up after OTAs tomorrow. Somebody that y'all are really going to like. So make sure you're subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast. We're definitely going to do another happy hour. Please go to my page and click on the link for Frank Ross's haircut for the homeless that he's doing on June the 6th. He's going out and he's going to help some people who are unfortunate right now. And as far as helping getting haircuts, getting their hair done, getting a lot of things, care packages and things like that. And that's by Houston. Hold on. Thank you so much. CoachRossCuts.com. That's it. I'm gonna leave that up here for just a second. On Tuesday, I'm gonna have a picture and I'll make sure that I put it up. But please, I really enjoyed going to, I think last year was that my first or my second one? I can't remember, but last year was amazing. They got they gave the unfortunate and unhoused haircuts. They got they had some dentists on the spot. They got clothes, they got food, they got vouchers, they got a lot of stuff. And I like to see that type of stuff. That was one of the things that I really, really enjoyed. And so go to my page at Big Star Sports with a Z at the end. And I'm going to reshare that and repost it. I'm going to repost it all the way up until the time that we're covering it. I will be in attendance, making sure that I put that out there. That's one of the things that that's one of the things that I really do like. One of the things that I really do like about this off season as well, and is the fact that you have these players and coaches out here doing things in the community that I really like to be a part of. I got an opportunity to be part of the Petrie Boys Foundation youth camp. Jalen Petrie held his first youth football camp this past Saturday, and that's where Ladarius Henderson was. And you could just tell that this team has a lot of family feel to it. I'll put out the video here on Tuesday where Jalen was talking about, he was telling Ladarius about the camp. He was telling Ladarius about the camp that he was having, and Ladarius bugged him until he told him where to, that he could come out and help out. And, he's like, you could tell when a person is serious when they consistently ask you over and over and over, can they come out and help? And so Ladarius was out there helping those kids and being a part of the camp, coaching those kids. And he looked like he was just having so much fun. Jalen was out there having a lot of fun. And so when you come out there, when I like going to these different types of camps, these different types of events, these different types of, Nico had his, Will is getting ready to have his this month. If I'm not mistaken, I think that Joe Mixon and CJ are combining to do one. I'm pretty sure that Tim Settle is going to get some stuff done. I'll be at some other, But before training camp starts, they're gonna get all these community events out of the way, and I will, like to be, I would like to be a part of them. All right, so for those of y'all, okay, so I'm going to be sad if LD doesn't make the 53. Yeah, if Ladarius doesn't make it. All right, so before I get up out of here, right, it's something that y'all have been asking me about for the last month, right? Y'all have been asking me for the last month, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it right here. Go ahead and take this hat off. All right. So back in October of 2024, I joined the Locked On Texans podcast, and that was currently hosted by Cody Davis and John Hickman. And Cody Davis had, Cody Davis left to go to work in Detroit. He became the beat writer for the Detroit Pistons. He became the beat writer covering the Detroit Pistons for the Detroit News. And so when Cody left, I was hired to fill his spot and fill his position, right? And so I was a part of the Locked On Texans podcast from October until May was my April. The end of April was my last. The end of April, May 1st was my last official day with the let me take that down. The last official day with the Locked On Texans podcast. And now John Hickman is hosting it. I think he's hosting it solo. I don't know if he has a co-host or not. I don't know if how he's doing the show now. I'm no longer, like I said, I'm no longer a part of it. So some of you all were wondering why I'm not a part of the Locked On Texans podcast anymore. And it's nothing personal against John. I don't have a personal issue with John. We just have creative differences. There are some things that we just see differently when it comes to, the Locked On Texans podcast when I was a part of it. And so there was just some creative differences that that we couldn't come to a mutual agreement on. And so I decided to go ahead and step away from the Locked On Texans podcast. The Locked On podcast network, the Locked On network as a whole, they were nothing but nice to me. They were nothing but gracious to me. And there may be an opportunity in the future. You may see me back on Locked On in some form or fashion, back on the Locked On network. But there was nothing like no big thing, scandal or big thing that happened. We just couldn't see eye to eye on certain things. And him being at that show for as long as he had, him and Cody, basically built that show from the ground up. I was a new person coming in. They had been there together 5+ years, and I think he made his 6th year there. And so then you have me coming in, and I'm coming in as, I've been independent for a while. I've been my own person. A lot of times I've been, there's a lot of things that I've done, as on my own, but I've also done it as a team player as well. And John and I just couldn't see eye to eye on certain things when it came to the Locked On Texans podcast. And so for those of y'all who have been wondering, I know that you all have been wondering why you haven't seen me over there, or why you haven't seen me on any of the shows, is because May 1st was my official day, last day with the Locked On Texans podcast. I wish Locked On Texans podcast nothing but the best. In how, or whatever direction that they're going in, whatever direction, that him and the football side of the NFL side of Locked On is going to take that. And, for those of you all who are subscribers to the Locked On Texans podcast, I mean, I would never ever say, "Hey man, don't listen to their podcast. Listen to the Texans tailgate talk." No. If you like what you're getting from the Locked On Texans podcast, continue to listen to the Locked On Texans podcast. If you like what you get from the Texans tailgate talk and the Texans happy hour, then subscribe to that. Subscribe to both if you like both of us. But so I just wanted to put that to rest. I don't have any I don't have any salacious or malicious things that I would say about my time at the Locked On Texans podcast. I had a great time. I really enjoyed everything that was afforded to me doing that. But with that being said, creative differences, we went our separate ways, and now I'm doing this. Now I have this is the third season, and I've turned the Texans tailgate talk. What started out as me just sitting on the back of my truck after training camp, talking to different people, different people on the beat, like DJ BNMA, like Jonathan Alexander, like Cole Thompson, like Aaron Wilson, like Doug Vosick, who is the vice president of communications and marketing with the Houston Texans, Kyle and Hannah McNair. You all know who they are. They're going to be on the tailgate again this year. And I'm going to also be bringing you, there'll be some players that'll be sitting on the back of the truck talking football. So I'm glad and I appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate everybody who has been a part of this movement. Last I checked, I started a YouTube page 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. We got 123 subscribers. Let me tell you something. I am elated. Every time I get a new subscriber, I tell my wife, "Oh, look at this! I got 100. Look. When I had 5, I was happy. When I had 10, I was happy." So whoever takes their time to subscribe, all I'm going to tell you is this: if you're looking for the best content, if you're looking for the best content, if you're looking for exclusive content, if you're looking for an opportunity to have your voice heard, because some of these content creators have these shows and they don't have. Look, y'all know, if I hadn't had y'all here for 2 hours already, we would have definitely been going through some of these. I'd have definitely been going through some of these comments. Y'all know how I do it. If you want to have your voice, 127 subscribers. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sarah, I'm not gonna touch that one, but Texas Tailgate Talk, that's where you're going to get a lot of fresh content. You're going to get a lot of exclusive content. You're going to get not a lot. The majority of the content will be fresh and non-aggregated. Now, with that being said, because I don't want people to be like, "Oh, Sarge taking shots at aggregators." I'm not taking shots at people who aggregate. There's some people out there who aggregate and they are amazing. within the Texans content creator space, there's some. I put it like this: I may not call them out by name, but you damn sure gonna see them on. Damn sure gonna see them on the show. You damn sure gonna see them on the show, and if they ain't on the show, that's because they declined my invite. But I am going to open up the door. There are a lot of Texas content creators who does the aggregation, and they do an amazing job. Some of them, some of them, I would not support their content at all. But with the opportunity that I've been afforded, with the opportunity that I've been given to be able to cover the Houston Texans, that allows me to be able to give you all some of the content that I give you. I'm in the locker room. I'm at the games. I'm at the practices. I'm at the OTAs. And not only am I just there, and I'm not only am I asking questions, I'm talking to the players one-on-one. I'm getting, as much information as I can share so I can give it to you all. So when we come on these happy hours, I can talk to you. Like when we were talking about, earlier about CJ's contract. I mean, these are the conversations, that I have with other people as well. And so when you look at the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and the channel, you see some of these videos, and those are videos that that I'm filming. There's me asking the questions, and so if you want, if you're looking for that type of content, if you want that, I'm telling you right now, if everything go according to plan, Tuesday I am getting a huge interview that I will share on the Texas Tailgate Talk. And a lot of times when you don't see the video and you just see a picture with audio embedded into where the picture is, just please click on it and listen, because some of these players, they do better at talking while you're recording them than they do as far as video is concerned. But the Texas Tailgate Talk page, you should check that all the time. Check that consistently, because you never know what I'm going to put up there. You never know what's going to be on there. You never know what you're going to see. And like I said, I'm never going to run out of content. I'm never going to run out of things to say, and I'm never going to not open up the door and the opportunity for you all to come right in here on this happy hour, the Texas Happy Hour, or on Texas Tailgate Talk Live, so you can have your voices heard. As I told you, I'm like the eyes and the ears for you all as well. I have the access. Some of the things you all, want to know, you all may not get it from certain people, certain places, or certain pages. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you don't get it, if I ain't put it out and you ain't seen it on my page, come right here. Come right here to these comments, right? Come right here to these comments right here when I go live, and we'll talk. I don't have a problem talking. I don't have a problem talking to y'all. I don't have a problem going, you agree, disagree, whatever the case may be, but you all need your voices heard as well. And if I could be that person that you want to talk Texans football with, you want to talk Texans content with, yeah, it's right here. Most of the people who support me will tell you, hey, look, we when we get over here, I put these comments up. And like I said, the only reason I did not tonight all the way is because I did not want you all to miss out on the conversation. And look, the conversation AD and I was having, and y'all were over here. AD was looking at the comments, responding to the comments. I couldn't because I was doing so many other things, but y'all know how we do it, man. When we come back tomorrow, it's gonna be us in that interview. Hey, can I do one more thing before I leave? And I know I took my hat off. But I got to do one more thing. Y'all give me 1 second. What are we doing here? That's not what we want to do, Sarge. I got to do one more thing, y'all. I'm sorry. I got to do this.
The position, they take a lot of pride in what they do. Yeah, they love football.
What is the Nick Caley offense look like?
Well, it depends on the players we got, and that's not a cop-out. That's the reality of it. So it can evolve, be willing to change and do whatever we need to do that's necessary based on who we have and who we're playing. Whether that's, again, you want to get big in terms of multiple personnel or not.
I like that answer right there. Let me bring that answer back real quickly right here. I like this answer.
Whether that's, again, you want to get big in terms of multiple personnel or not.
Big and multiple personnel. I didn't get a chance to really talk to AD about this, but y'all remember when the Texans drafted Jaden Higgins, and I said, "Oh, these boys about to run a double big lineup like the Rockets were doing with the what the Rockets were doing when they were running with Shingun and Steven Adams." I said, "Oh, they about to run that double big lineup, and if they want to go triple big, like when the Rockets would put Jabari in there, and it would be Jabari, Alpi, and Steven Adams all in the game at the same time. Yeah, they can go. They can go. Nico, Jaden Higgins, and they could throw Xavier Hutchinson in the mix too. But if not, if you're just gonna have those two out there, then you can put Dalton. Dalton can line up next to somebody as well. There's multiple personnel packages I feel like that they could use to their advantage, especially in the red zone, because I feel like that's where the guys having those bigger guys like that in the red zone and letting CJ just throw the ball up is going to help out a lot. But I like that. That's why I came back to it.
Gap schemes or zone schemes, committing to more play action or not, that's going to really be dependent on, what your personnel dictates and who you have available. So again, that's the great part about this year is we get to do a lot of different things and really put a lot of guys in different positions to run certain routes. Some of them, some of these guys have never done anything,
When he said that, I'm saying, oh, he's talking about the rookies. And then I thought about it again. I said, oh, no, he's talking about the veterans too. It just ain't the rookies. It's the veterans too. And I said, oh, Nick Caley is seeing something already that he can fix. Nick Caley is seeing something already that he can fix. And that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see in your offensive coordinator. Somebody that can look and they can see what needs to be done and what needs to be fixed and how we can fix it. And that's what Nick Caley is, early on. I don't know what he's going to do as far as play calling is concerned, but I think that when you look at what he wants to do and what he's trying to do, he's already came in and recognized some of the weaknesses, and now he's willing to build on it.
Or certain routes that we have, and they might be just exclusively outside receivers that we're working inside and vice versa. So it's a good opportunity just to see what these guys can do.
I like that. I like that. I like that. That's the one thing that I like about Nick Caley so far. And we're only in OTAs, and I get that part. We're only in OTAs, and we're going to roll in the mini camp, and then we got to wait till training camp. And I just like the fact that there's a lot of that Sean McVay talk in him. It looks like you could tell he studied under Sean McVay. And, I mean, look, it could be 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Who knows? But you can tell that you can just look at him and tell that him being a positions coach too. I think that's the one thing that hindered Bobby as far as being an offensive play caller. He never really coached a position. And so he's looking at, coming in and doing a whole bunch of things. And there's some of the things he may not have been able to get better at. And I think that Bobby, if he gets another opportunity, he's going to be good. But, learning under Shanahan and learning under Sean McVay, that's two totally different people that you're learning under. Kyle Shanahan is not a bad offensive play caller. He is not. He is not a bad offensive play caller. He does have an offensive system that works for the personnel that he puts on the field. It's just that Sean McVay is a totally different animal. Sean McVay is a totally different animal. And if you have the opportunity to learn under Sean McVay, and he can teach you the things that he needs to teach you, and you're watching, and when you're not talking to Sean McVay, you're talking to Hall of Fame quarterback Matthew Stafford, and then you're talking to Cooper Kupp, wide receiver, who had an excellent excellent seasons with the Rams, and then you look at Puka Nacua, somebody that people didn't really know about or believe in coming out, and he became one of the top wide receivers. So you just look at the pedigree coming from the New England Patriots, but definitely coming from the Rams. So I'm not here to just say, "Oh man, I'm not ready to crown Nick Caley yet," because I don't know what he's going to do. There's still that unknown factor when it comes to Nick Caley that we're still saying, maybe. But I know one thing. One thing that I do know, he's going to be given the opportunity. They're going to build around CJ. They're going to build around what they've got going on. And you're going to see a more proactive approach from head coach DeMeco Ryans. Because when you got to realize that when DeMeco and Bobby got here at the same time, this was DeMeco's first time being a head coach, and it's Bobby's first time being an offense coordinator. Well, now DeMeco's going into his third year, and so he's gotten acclimated to what needs to be done. He's got his schedule down. He's got his routine down, and he knows that he has one hell of a defense. He knows that that defense is very good. What he needs to do is get the offense or help the offense get up to speed. And so even during OTAs, you could just tell he was taking a little bit more of a hands-on approach into watching the offense and some of the things that they're doing. I didn't expect to yawn, but he's taking a more proactive approach into that, and you like seeing that. And one more thing that I want to say before I get off of before I close this out is, and I want to go back to something that AD and I talked about earlier on in the show, and that's CJ Stroud, right? And CJ Stroud and him not throwing in OTAs, and I'm not gonna reiterate how I feel about that. I'm just gonna I want to talk about real quickly. I want to talk about some of the things that I've seen online, because there were some people saying, "Oh, he's not throwing because he can't really lift his shoulder." And I'm saying to myself, how is that? I'm watching him, and I know he can. I'm watching him. I know he can lift his shoulder. So that was an asinine comment. Another asinine comment was, "Oh, he's holding out." Okay, I get that. But the thing that really bothered me the most, and like I said, AD and I, we touched on this briefly, but I want to make sure that I took this opportunity in time before I got off of this Texas happy hour to say this. Calm down, people. Calm down. Just calm down. You're doing too much. And I know I've taken my hat off, and this is just supposed to be a time where we just supposed to be relaxing and kicking it, but I had to bring this back up. Calm down. If CJ isn't throwing, then you think that you know better than the Houston Texans organization on why why he should or shouldn't be throwing. No, they know exactly what they're doing. CJ knows exactly what he's doing. And I get it. Some of you all are jaded because of the way that the Houston Astros have handled, what they've done with this latest case with Yordan Alvarez and what they did with Kyle Tucker. Oh, the organization is not being truthful with us. All I'm going to say is this. I don't know. The Houston Texans and the Houston Astros are two totally different teams. They are run two totally different ways. And so You cannot use what the Astros or how you feel that the Astros deal with injuries and then talk about that's what the Texans are doing. You asked D'Amico whether you liked his answer or not. He gave you an answer. You asked Nick Caley whether you liked his answer or not. It doesn't matter. My thing is, are you wanting to see CJ throw so you can critique him, or you want to see him throw just to see him throw? Or why is it so important to see CJ throw during OTAs? Because if we keeping it a buck, OTAs ain't nothing but a glorified walkthroughs. That's it. That's why you see me talk about it, but you don't see me get in depth about it like I will in training camp. Like when I talk about that Derek Stingley Jr. and when I say Derek Stingley Jr., when I say that Kamari Lassiter in mid-season form, that's just because I'm just watching what they're doing on the field, their motions and what they're doing. I can't tell you that if I watch CJ throw a pass on Tuesday, oh man, CJ's in mid-season form. I don't know what mid-season form is under Nick Caley offense. I know what mid-season form is under Matt Burke and D'Amico Ryans led defense. I can see how acclimated they are, but OTAs ain't the time for to say, oh man, CJ looks terrible. He did this, he did that. He's learned offense. And no, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether he throws or not, because if he was injured, we would know. I'm gonna put it like this. I'm gonna tell y'all something real quickly. Like, I find out a lot of things. Some things I keep to myself, some things I tell you. If CJ Stroud was injured, I would tell you, hey, CJ's injured. If CJ was injured, if CJ's shoulder was out of whack, I would come here and I'd say, hey man, I got some bad news for y'all. CJ's shoulder is out of whack. According to my sources, CJ's shoulder is out of whack. What if I told you, hey man, according to my sources, CJ ain't hurt. CJ's not injured. If they had to play tomorrow, CJ could play. So I don't understand why all the hype behind seeing him throw in training camp. Is just a ploy and a tactic used by some of the media members and some of the content creators to drum up clicks, likes, retweets, drama. Doesn't matter. You telling me that if you don't see CJ throwing OTAs, you don't think that he's still CJ Stroud? If you don't see him throw in OTAs or minicamp, are you saying that you still think now you're saying, oh, CJ's going to have a terrible season because he didn't throw in OTAs? Oh, CJ didn't throw in OTAs and minicamps. His season is going to be terrible. No, CJ needs to come out and show us in OTAs that last year was just a fluke. Got it. Yeah. Ooh. I gotta go to bed. Y'all know I get up early. Y'all know I'm gonna be right back up bright and early in the morning. In the morning. That sucked. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, Texans Tailgate Talk, all one word. Texans Tailgate Talk YouTube, all one word. And make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. Subscribe to that Texans Tailgate Talk YouTube channel. I'm telling y'all, you're going to say, Sarge, you did me wrong, man. You didn't tell me. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you. Get your subscribe, because I may drop. Look, you know what? What time is it now? I may drop something for y'all right now. Big Sarge. I'm out. Big Sarge.